In the beginning, as was said of old, the earth was without form and void. There was no...
Welcome back to
Cruel Nature. Oh, look.
The larger one of the crab's claws is ideal for seizing these chirping victims.
All the children of today and of unnumbered yesterdays, all the poets, all the tyrants, all the philosophers, and all the fools, all of mankind who have lived and labored on this planet since the beginning, all have come from this microscopic egg, many, many times smaller than a mustard seed.
Relentlessly, the birds counterattack. One of them manages to penetrate a crab's armor, forcing the crab to retreat. Quick battlefield surgery is required. The crab amputates its own large claw. It will take several molting seasons for it to regenerate. The damaged arm, once the crab's greatest pride and deadliest weapon, is now reduced to another layer of compost in cruel nature.
oviduct and uterus of a typical mammal, the rabbit. The processes here described are the same for all mammals, even man. Here we see the ovary and its follicles. These small dark bodies on the ovary are the follicles. The egg passes down this long thin tube, the oviduct, and at about 72 hours after mating passes into this larger tube, uterine horn, the other uterine horn. This veil-like structure at the end of the oviduct covers the ovary at about the time of ovulation so that the egg will not be lost. Those dark spots are the follicles, the pathway of the egg. This diagram shows a typical mammalian reproductive tract. The uterus is represented here as a two-horned organ, as in the rabbit and in the farm animals.
Oh, Luke.
It's an energy drink. That's the only rat in one can. 4. No. Planet and fiction. Support Spark True.
I know.
Well, now I'm assistant district attorney. You can't stall me this time.
Oh, I am proud of you, Charles. But I haven't accomplished what I set out to do.
Now, you're wasting your time.
No, dear, I'm not.
Yes, you are. Now, look here, Eileen. You can't change the customs of these people. Others before you have tried.
But I was born here. They're my people, my blood.
But you've been out in the world. You've gone to school.
Yes, I was fortunate in obtaining an education. Now it's my duty to help them.
All the education in the world wouldn't help them.
But you could help me if you really love me.
Of course I love you, but what could I do?
You can do a lot, dearest.
What, for instance?
Just continue to love me and be patient.
Patient? I've been waiting patiently for the last 5 years. I suppose you want me to wait until I'm an old man.
Charles, I'm going to fight for these people until the state realizes that child marriage must be stopped.
Sometimes I wonder if you really do love me, Eileen.
Something in the smoker, and we'll get them started. Bees are one of the evidences of God's creation. The Bible says that Jesus created all things, and by him all things were created. And the bee is an evidence of creation by the fact that it's a irreducible mechanism. It had to be an intact colony created at one time, or it couldn't exist at all. If there's no queen, there's no working bees. If there's no working bees, there's nobody to feed the queen. If there's no queen that lays eggs, there's no drones to impregnate the queen. If there's no drones to impregnate the queen, there's no working bees. So that shows you that there's an evidence of design in the honeybee, and so everything was created intact at one point in time. And of course, that is borne witness by the honeybee.
It is through this placenta that all mammalian embryos, rabbits, kittens, puppies, calves, and human babies get their food from the mothers while developing in embryo in the womb. and the egg is started on its way to become an embryo. This is a living rabbit egg about to make its first division. Watch closely. The granules start to dance, and there, the egg is divided. 2 cells now instead of 1, both of about equal size. This first division takes place about 24 hours after mating, and after the first division, the egg appears to rest in the 2-cell stage for 3 or 4 hours. Here is the same egg at 28 hours. You will notice that again the granules in these 2 cells will appear to become greatly agitated just before division takes place. This is characteristic of most eggs. There, 1 cell has divided, and now the other cell divides.
Ford is right. You're never gonna grow up to be a real man like that. Now watch it. Stop screaming.
Nature sets us many a riddle. Why should beauty be lavished upon creatures which would appear to have no need or use for colorful adornment? In this submarine world of wonder, beauty peeps out in unexpected places. From a piece of dead coral, a lovely flower bursts into bloom. But that blossom is but another worm. The Pulis makes a tubular home in the coral, from which it spreads out its flower-like gills as a net to catch food and oxygen. But here is wonder upon wonder, a sea slug. How inadequate a name for a creature such as this. It could more aptly be named the ballerina of the sea. Its graceful movements are reminiscent of the swirling skirts of a dance. Science has named this sea slug nudibranch, a word meaning naked gill. For its filmy breathing organs are not placed inside the body like those of most other animals, but are carried outside the body. The gills can be seen growing on the back of this unusual slug. The feather starfish prefers the deeper waters. It belongs to a very ancient family, which, fossil remains show, was abundant in the seas millions of years ago, long before men on Earth. Unlike most starfish, it can move swiftly. Many shellfish, which at the beginning of their lives swim free in the ocean, settle down while still babies on some convenient stone to which they attach themselves for life. But the lima is a wanderer and remains unattached. It swims through the water by two shells, keeping its balance with the aid of a long tentacle. The lima cannot close its shells completely, for even when closely attached, the tentacles will not fit inside. While many of the tropical fish are more colorful than the reefs they live in, the more somber fish throw into relief the soft pastel shades of the coral. In the quiet of the undersea's world, danger lurks in strange forms. That harmless-looking growth on the stone is a killer, a giant sea anemone. An unwary fish has brushed against the tentacle and been paralyzed by a battery of stinging cells before being engulfed by the hungry mouth hidden beneath the tentacle. Despite the deadly power of the anemone's sting, there's an amazing friendship in it and a little fish called Purpula. Should Purpula be frightened by a larger fish, the little fellow will dash for safety right in among the stinging tentacles, where it is never stung nor eaten. In fact, when badly frightened, Purpula goes right inside the anemone's mouth and hides in the stomach of the anemone until the coast is clear again. Another fish, Amphitryon, enjoys the same privileges. In return for the anemone's protection, these fish attract the attention of other fish, which, expecting to catch a tasty meal, make a dash for the little fish, which immediately disappear among the tentacles, leaving the pursuer to be stunned and perhaps eaten by the anemone.